It began with a map that no longer existed, folded, yellowed, and tucked inside an old travel journal. It was handed to me by a man who said nothing about where it came from, only that the Philippines hides places not meant for postcards, places that don't reveal themselves to tourists, but to those who listen. These places, he said, tapping the map gently, remember who walks on them. I laughed then, the way people laugh at folklore. But weeks later, standing barefoot on unfamiliar soil, I realized this wasn't a travel story. It was a reckoning. The Philippines is often reduced to beaches and smiles, but beneath the surface is a country layered with silence, resilience, and forgotten beauty. Over 7,000 islands, each carrying stories that never make brochures. This journey wasn't about ticking destinations. It was about following a trail, 10 hidden wonders scattered across the Philippine archipelago, connected not by roads, but by memory. I traveled alone, guided only by that map and a growing sense that the land itself was watching. Each place revealed something rare, not just about the Philippines, but about what it means to belong nowhere and everywhere at once. The first mark on the map led deep into the mountains of northern Luzon, where stone terraces clung to the earth like ancient scars. These weren't the famous rice terraces everyone photographs. These were older, higher, almost forgotten. The locals called them the breathing steps. At dawn, mist rose between the levels, making it seem as though the mountains were inhaling. An elderly farmer told me these terraces were built not just for rice, but for patience. If you rush here, he said, the mountain will teach you to wait. From the highlands, the map pulled me south, into a forest in the heart of the Philippines where the trees grew unnaturally tall and silent. This was the second wonder, a limestone forest untouched by roads. No signs, no fences, just stone spires rising like a forgotten city. The air was thick, heavy with age. My guide stopped suddenly and whispered, "Listen." There were no birds, no wind, only stillness. He explained that locals believe this forest remembers every sound ever made inside it. That's why people speak softly here, as if not to wake something old. The third location appeared as a blue circle drawn, near the coast of an island few outsiders visit. It was a hidden tidal lake, accessible only during a narrow window of low tide. I arrived too early and waited on jagged rocks as the sea slowly retreated. When the lake finally emerged, it shimmered an impossible shade of blue, trapped between coral walls. Locals say the lake disappears when approached with greed. Swimming wasn't allowed. This place isn't for taking, a fisherman told me. It's for remembering what restraint feels like. Further south in the central Philippines, the map led inland, away from beaches, away from noise, toward a valley that never appears on satellite images. The fourth wonder was a waterfall that flowed upward. Or at least, that's how it looked. Strong winds pushed the water skyward, defying instinct. I stood soaked, laughing in disbelief, until a woman beside me said, "The Philippines has always moved against expectation." She had lost her home to a typhoon years earlier. Watching the water rise instead of fall, she said, reminded her that survival doesn't always follow logic. The fifth hidden wonder lay underground, a cave system beneath a quiet Philippine village, entered through what looked like an ordinary well. Descending felt like stepping into the earth's memory. Stalactites hung like frozen tears. Underground rivers whispered directions I couldn't understand. My guide told me this cave was used as refuge during wars, storms, and disappearances. The Philippines has learned how to hide, he said. Deep inside, we turn off our lights. In total darkness, I felt something rare, complete humility. Here, the land didn't care who I was. The sixth place wasn't marked clearly, only circled in red with a word scribbled beside it. Echo. It led me to a cliff overlooking a remote Philippine coastline. When I shouted, my voice didn't return immediately. It came back altered, layered, as if carrying other voices with it. Locals believe the cliff returns not just sound, but emotion. People come here to confess, to grieve, to let go. I said nothing. But when the echo returned, it felt heavier than my voice alone, like the land had added its own history to my words. In the eastern Philippines, battered often by storms, the seventh wonder revealed itself in ruins. A village swallowed by the sea decades ago, now visible only during extreme low tide. Roofs, doorframes, pathways, ghosts of daily life preserved underwater. I walked carefully between them as waves brushed my knees. An old man watched from the shore. "We didn't rebuild here," he said. "We learned." The Philippines, I realized, doesn't erase pain. It builds around it, leaves markers. So forgetting is never an option. The eighth hidden wonder was alive. A firefly river in a mangrove forest, glowing at night like the stars had fallen into the Philippines. I boarded a small boat after sunset. As we drifted, thousands of lights blinked in perfect rhythm. No engines allowed. No talking. The guide said the fireflies disappear when the forest is harmed. This wasn't entertainment. It was a warning system. Watching the river glow, I felt like I was witnessing the Philippines breathe light into the dark, asking only to be left intact. By now, the map was worn thin, its creases soft from use. The ninth location lay in the far south of the Philippines, in a desert-like landscape few expect to exist there. Red earth, cracked ground, wind howling without trees to stop it. It felt wrong, out of place. But a local geologist explained this land was ancient seabed, lifted over time. The Philippines is not one story, he said. It's layers arguing with each other. Standing there, I understood. Beauty here wasn't comfortable. It was confrontational. The final mark on the map was the strangest. No coordinates. Just a sentence. Return. Confused, I went back to where the journey began, a small Philippine fishing town I had passed through without noticing. At sunrise, I saw it differently. Children mending nets. Women sharing rice. Men repairing boats scarred by storms. This was the 10th wonder. Not hidden because it was remote, but because it was ordinary. The Philippines' greatest secret wasn't a place. It was how life continued, quietly, despite everything. As the days passed, I realized the map hadn't guided me to destinations. It had guided me through emotions, patience, silence, restraint, humility. Each hidden wonder of the Philippines stripped away expectation and replaced it with something slower, deeper. The fictional journey felt more real than any itinerary I'd followed before. I stopped documenting obsessively. Some moments weren't meant for cameras. The Philippines doesn't perform. It waits. And if you stay long enough, it reveals itself without asking for applause. People often ask why these places aren't famous, why they aren't promoted. But maybe that's the point. The Philippines has learned that exposure can be a double-edged blade. Some wonders survive because they remain whispered, because they trust the land more than algorithms. I thought of the breathing terraces, the silent forest, the disappearing lake. Each demanded respect before beauty. This wasn't tourism. It was permission. On my last night, I unfolded the map again. New lines had appeared, or maybe I was just noticing them now. The Philippines hadn't changed. I had. The fictional story I thought I was telling had slowly turned inward. Each hidden wonder mirrored something human. Grief, hope, resilience, restraint. Perhaps that's why the Philippines feels alive. It reflects what you bring into it. Travel documentaries often promise escape, but this journey through the hidden wonders of the Philippines offered confrontation instead. It asked uncomfortable questions. What do you take when you visit a place? What do you leave behind? I realized the Philippines didn't owe me inspiration. I owed it attention, silence, care. When I finally left, there was no dramatic farewell. Just a quiet boat ride at dawn. The water calm. The air heavy with humidity and memory. The map was gone. Left behind intentionally. Some stories aren't meant to be repeated exactly. They're meant to change form as they pass from one person to another. If you ever come to the Philippines searching for hidden wonders, don't look too hard. Walk slower. Listen longer. The land reveals itself not to those who chase, but to those who notice. Because the truth is, the Philippines doesn't hide its wonders from the world. It hides them from indifference. And once you see them, truly see them, they never leave you.